Everyone thinks Alex Hormozi built a $500 million empire by selling books. They're wrong. Dead wrong. In fact, his books barely make any profit at all. Some might even lose money. And that's exactly what makes him a genius. It's like finding out that McDonald's doesn't actually make money from burgers. The real money is in the real estate. Mind blown, right? Same energy here. See, while everyone's trying to figure out how to sell more copies on Amazon, Hormozi cracked a code that traditional publishers don't want you to know about. His book business isn't a book business at all. It's something way more profitable, way more scalable, and honestly, kind of brilliant when you understand how it actually works. But here's where it gets wild. Less than 5% of his wealth comes from books. So where's the other 95%? Stick around, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you think about building a business in 2025. Let's start with the headline that broke the internet. August 2025, Hormozi launches his third book, $100 million Money Models, and the numbers are absolutely insane. Media outlets are screaming about $150 million in revenue in 24 hours. 2.7 million copies sold on day one. It's being called the biggest book launch in history. But here's what nobody's telling you. That 2.7 million number, it's not what you think. See, Hormozi sold a bundle where you buy one physical book and get 199 redemption codes to gift digitally. So when someone bought that $6,000 bundle, it counted as 200 sales in the stats. Brilliant marketing, but those codes sitting unredeemed in someone's email, they're not actually distributed books. The real number of physical books that got into people's hands? Probably somewhere between 500,000 to 1 million. Still massive, don't get me wrong. But it's not 2.7 million. Now here's where your brain should be exploding. Go to acquisition.com right now. You can download the PDF of his books completely free. No email opt-in, no catch. The audiobook, also free. The Kindle version, he sold it for 99 cents. Physical copies, priced near printing cost at $25 to $40. Let me break down the math because this is where it gets interesting. Printing costs at bulk, $2 to $4 per book. Advertising spend for that launch, over $4 million. Shipping, fulfillment, staff, warehousing. When you run the actual numbers, the book business is running at break even or a loss. It's like running a restaurant where you sell $50 steaks for $5. You're not stupid. You're not bad at business. You're playing a completely different game than everyone else in the room. So why would a guy worth over $100 million intentionally lose money on books? That's the question nobody's asking, and the answer is going to blow your mind. But first, let me show you where his money actually came from, because this timeline will shock you. Here's what the internet doesn't tell you. Before Alex Hormozi ever posted a YouTube video, before he wrote a single book, before anyone knew his name, he had already made over $100 million. Let me say that again. The content didn't make him rich, he was already rich before the content. The story starts in 2013. Hormozi's 24 years old, opens his first gym called United Fitness. He's making $20,000 a month across 5 locations. Sounds good, right? Wrong. By age 26, he's basically bankrupt. Lost everything. Twice. Sleeping on friends' couches, running 9 to 10 businesses at once, and taking home basically nothing. This is his Batman Begins moment. You know, before Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, he has to lose everything and rebuild from scratch. That's Hormozi in 2015. Now here's where desperation becomes innovation. He can't scale in-person gym consulting, so in late 2015, he creates a licensing model. The pitch? I'll work for free. Only pay me if your gym becomes profitable. This is the moment everything changes. Year 1, gym launch does $3 million in profit in the first 6 months, then $17 million profit in the next 12 months. By year 2, they're doing $25.9 million in revenue with $15.9 million in profit. That's a 61% profit margin. For context, most businesses celebrate 20% margins. Over the next 4 years, Hormozi and his wife Layla pull out $42 million in owner distributions while building 2 more companies. Prestige Labs hits $20 million in first-year revenue. All-in Software reaches $1.4 million monthly revenue within 6 months. Then comes 2021, the exit. American Pacific Group buys 66% of Gym Launch and Prestige Labs for $46.2 million in cash. Add that to the $42 million in distributions they already took out, and you're looking at roughly $88 million just from those 2 companies. He still owns 34% of both. Total generated from actual businesses before his content blew up, around $120 million. Now here's the kicker. His first YouTube video, October 2019, that's it. 1 video all year. He didn't start posting consistently until 2020, and his podcast didn't even rank until years later. By the time anyone knew his name from content, he already had $100 million in the bank. So if the money came from businesses, not books, why the hell is he writing books and giving them away for free? This is where the strategy gets absolutely diabolical. And speaking of strategies, if you want the exact frameworks from all 3 of his books compiled into one actionable PDF you can actually implement in your business, I've put together a completely free resource resource. No email sign up, no BS. Links in the description. Download it, use it, and let me know in the comments which strategy you're implementing first. Now back to the billion-dollar question. Acquisition.com isn't a book company. It's not even an education company. It's a private equity firm that uses books as customer acquisition. And once you see how this funnel works, you'll never look at business the same way. Here's the ladder. Step 1, you download the free book or buy it for $30. You read it, implement the frameworks, get results. Step 2, you see there's a 2-day workshop for $5,000. You attend, meet the team, get deeper strategies. Step 3, there's an annual advisory program for $35,000. You join, get direct support, implement at scale. Step 4, and this is where the real money is, Acquisition.com offers to become a partner in your business. They take a 20 to 40% equity stake, you keep control, and they help you triple revenue in 5 years using their operational systems. It's basically a video game skill tree, except instead of unlocking new abilities, you're unlocking access to private equity partnerships. And instead of spending hours grinding, you're spending thousands of dollars. Same dopamine hit, different bank account impact. One customer who goes through all 4 steps, that's $40,000 in direct revenue plus an equity stake potentially worth millions when the business scales. The $30 book wasn't a product, it was customer acquisition that cost him money to deliver. Now let's talk about the portfolio. The official claim is 16 companies generating $200 to $250 million in aggregate annual revenue, but here's something weird. Only 2 portfolio companies are publicly confirmed, Caseflood.ai and IBC Global. The other 14, complete opacity. It's like that scene in Fight Club where Tyler Durden says, the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. Except here it's the first rule of Acquisition.com portfolio is we don't tell you who's in the portfolio. The stated reason is avoiding key man risk where businesses become too dependent on his brand. Fair enough. But most holding companies publish at least some portfolio transparency. The team structure is wild too. Only 18 people total managing a claimed $250 million revenue portfolio. That's either insanely efficient or suggests less hands-on involvement than marketed. For comparison, Blackstone has thousands of employees managing their portfolio. The revenue breakdown looks something like this. Workshops bring in $5 to $15 million annually. Books add $10 to $30 million, but operate strategically at low margins. YouTube ad revenue from 3.3 million subscribers contributes maybe $1 to $3 million. The real wealth generation comes from equity stakes and profit distributions from portfolio companies, though exact figures remain undisclosed. But here's what nobody talks about. The investment thesis targets businesses doing $1 to $10 million in EBITDA, taking 40% minority stakes without board seats, promising to triple revenues in 5 years. This sits in a weird middle ground between traditional private equity, which is too hands-on for small deals, and venture capital, which is too risky for profitable businesses. So where do these portfolio companies come from? How does he find them? This is where the content machine enters the picture, and trust me, you're not ready for how sophisticated this actually is. $4 million. That's how much Hormozi invested in content over 40 months from 2020 to 2024, not 4 million views, $4 million. At peak spending, $70,000 to $90,000 per month with teams of up to 17 marketing people. Eventually, he optimized down to 5 people while tripling output, but the point remains. This isn't some side hustle. It's a full-blown R&D expense. The system is actually genius. Ideas start on Twitter, where Hormozi posts personally, no ghostwriters, no AI. He tests engagement. Top performing tweets become video scripts following a specific formula. Hook, hammer, or humor. One long-form YouTube video posted 3 times weekly gets repurposed into 30+ pieces across TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. That's a 1 to 30 repurposing ratio. It's like that scene in Inception where one dream creates layers of other dreams, except instead of dream levels, it's content platforms. One video becomes 30 pieces of content. That's the content equivalent of printing money. But here's what changed everything. In 2024, after advice from Mr. Beast to make clickbait true, Hormozi stripped away all expensive production, no fancy cameras, no elaborate editing, just simple slides and hand-drawn elements. His reasoning? An ounce of pre-work is worth a pound of post. 4 weeks researching content beats 4 weeks editing footage every single time. The anti-influencer aesthetic actually reinforces authenticity while reducing costs. And the results? Acquisition.com claims 20,000 leads daily organically. That's 7.3 million leads per year. At a conservative $10 value per lead, that's $73 million in annual lead generation value. Suddenly, that $4 million investment looks pretty damn cheap. But here's the real genius. Hormozi didn't optimize for views or subscribers. He optimized for revenue per me, targeting business owners with actual purchasing power rather than chasing viral entertainment. The content doesn't just attract people, it qualifies them. Someone willing to sit through a 200-page business book and implement frameworks, that's a qualified lead. Someone who pays $5,000 for a workshop, that's a serious operator. By the time a founder reaches partnership discussions, they've self-selected through multiple filters, invested money, implemented frameworks, and developed trust through months of content. Traditional private equity firms spend millions on business development and conferences, scouts, competitive bidding. Hormozi engineered a pull system where qualified founders approach him. This dramatically strengthens his negotiating position while reducing acquisition costs to nearly zero. And if you're wondering how to implement even a fraction of this content repurposing system in your own business, I've broken down the exact frameworks in that free PDF I mentioned earlier. Seriously, go grab it from the description. It includes the content strategy, the repurposing ratio, how to test ideas before producing, all of it. Drop a comment once you've downloaded it and tell me which part you found most valuable. Now, before you go thinking this is all sunshine and rainbows, let me show you where the cracks start to appear. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable. And look, I'm not here to cancel anyone or throw shade, but if we're doing a real breakdown, we need to talk about some red flags because there are legitimate concerns that even his biggest fans should be aware of. Think of this as taking the red pill in the Matrix. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's dive in. First, timeline inflation. Hormozi markets himself as a self-made millionaire at 23. But in his own detailed interviews, he admits he had about $100,000 saved by age 26 after selling gyms. Actual millionaire status came at 27 to 28 when gym launch exploded. That's a 4-year acceleration of his success story in marketing materials. Not illegal, but not entirely accurate either. Second, and this one's physiologically impossible, claims of gaining 30 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks. Natural muscle building limits are about 2 pounds per month max. Claims like this either indicate PED usage or loose relationship with biological reality. Either way, it undermines credibility on other figures. Third, the nothing to sell you positioning. The website emphasizes Hormozi has nothing to sell you, but the funnel literally includes $5,000 workshops, $35,000 annual programs, and partnership deals taking 20 to 40% equity. Technically, the content is free, sure, but calling this nothing to sell feels disingenuous. Now here's where it gets really interesting for the comment section. Some analysis by social scientists rates Hormozi's business acumen 10 out of 10 and confirms he's legit, but identifies serious ethical concerns. Documented fake scarcity scripts from gym launch training materials. Only 2 spots left when unlimited spots exist. Deceptive phone tactics like pretending to be busy or distracted to create urgency. Pressure techniques requesting IDs and wallets to psychologically commit prospects. These tactics worked. Gym launch's 61% profit margins prove effective sales systems, but they contradict the current brand emphasizing transparency and value. Better Business Bureau records show Gym Launch received 8 complaints in 3 years. Trustpilot reviews average 3.6 out of 5 stars. Some clients credit Gym Launch with doubling revenue. Others report near bankruptcy after spending $30,000 to $40,000 on services that overpromised and under-delivered. The theme of bait and switch appears in multiple reviews claiming generic ads despite customization promises. Look, every successful business has complaints, but the mixed outcomes suggest the system works for some and fails others, a pattern obscured by only showcasing successes. The portfolio transparency issue is another head-scratcher. Claiming 16 companies while only confirming 2 publicly creates verification impossibility. Most successful holding companies like Tiny Capital or even Berkshire Hathaway publish portfolio lists for transparency. The complete opacity while making 200 to 250 million revenue claims asks for trust without verification. And the net worth ambiguity? Sources range from $100 million to $200 million. The conservative estimate seems around $95 million liquid. The $200 million figure requires including a liquid equity at uncertain private market valuations that could fluctuate significantly. So is Alex Hormozi a scam? Nope. Is he 100% transparent? Also, nope. Does his business model work? Absolutely. Should you trust every claim at face value? Probably not. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do these red flags concern you, or do the results speak for themselves? Now let me show you the most sophisticated element that's been hiding in plain sight this entire time. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hormozi didn't just build a business. He inverted traditional private equity deal sourcing. Typical PE firms spend heavily on business development, attending conferences, hiring scouts, bidding competitively for deals. Hormozi engineered a system where qualified founders approach him, dramatically strengthening his negotiating position while reducing acquisition costs to essentially zero. The mechanism is pure behavioral design. Content attracts business owners broadly. By the time founders reach partnership discussions, they've self-selected through multiple filters, invested money in workshops, implemented frameworks, and developed trust through months of content consumption. This creates asymmetric advantage. Founders feel they're pursuing Hormozi, increasing his leverage, when actually he's systematically cultivating the relationship. It's like when Morpheus told Neo, "I can only show you the door. You have to walk through it." Except Hormozi built the entire building, designed the door, and knew exactly who would walk through it before they even saw it. So here's the final verdict. Alex Hormozi's $500 million book empire isn't about books at all. It's about using books as the world's most effective business card to attract equity deals worth millions. The genius isn't in writing or publishing. It's in understanding that sometimes the optimal strategy involves intentionally losing money on visible components to win on invisible ones. It's like that scene in Ocean's 11 where they stage an elaborate fake heist to cover the real heist happening underground. Everyone's watching the books, the launches, the social media. Nobody's watching the private equity deals happening in the background. That's where the real vault is. Can you replicate this exact model? Unless you've already built and exited multiple 8-figure businesses, probably not. But can you steal the core principles, adapt them to your reality, and build something meaningful? Absolutely. 3 final takeaways. 1, the best businesses often look like something else entirely on the surface. 2, content credibility can't be faked at scale. Build real expertise first, then document. 3, design your funnel to progressively qualify intent and ability, monetizing through high-value relationships rather than volume transactions. If you found this breakdown valuable, drop a like, subscribe for more deep dives into how internet fortunes actually get built, and go download that free PDF in the description with all the actionable frameworks from his 3 books. And I want to know, after seeing how this really works, do you think Hormozi's a genius or just really good at marketing? Drop your take in the comments. Let's debate. See you in the next one.